to repeat this chart on the Bitcoin dominant. Basically, and remember, charts replay out over and over again. You'll find this same consolidation on 1,000 other charts out there. And again, the probabilities favor a breakout. If it doesn't break out, that's where you get a failed move. And failed moves in technical analysis result in major moves in the opposite direction. So the reason why I'm bringing up that 29,800, 29,900 level is because if we fail, if the bullish pattern fails here, you should expect a move to at minimum 25,000, maybe as low as 22 to 20,000 on Bitcoin, probably within a month or two.
The US-China trade war, primarily focused on technology, has been surprisingly one-sided. However, the dynamics are now changing. For almost 4 years, Beijing restrained itself, even when the US implemented severe measures such as broad bans on sales of design software, semiconductor manufacturing equipment, and advanced chips from companies like Nvidia and Advanced Micro Devices to Chinese firms. These measures were essentially aimed at suffocating significant segments of the Chinese technology industry, with the intention to severely hinder its progress. Gregory Allen, a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, characterized these measures as actively strangling the Chinese technology industry, with an intent to cripple it. Initially, Beijing seemed unable to retaliate. However, on March 31st, China finally responded by announcing a security review of Micron Technology, a U.S. memory chip giant. Less than a week later, there were reports that China might restrict exports of rare earth metals, which are vital for semiconductor manufacturing, electric vehicle motors, missile systems, and more. This news has particularly negative implications for technological stocks, including Tesla, as half of its production is directed towards China. Furthermore, Gareth Soloway analyzes the Bitcoin chart and shares his insights and predictions for the future of the leading cryptocurrency.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
Look at Bitcoin. Now, the reason this is important, and by the way, if you look at this chart, Bitcoin's barely moved over the last couple weeks. But what's intriguing about Bitcoin here is that we rallied up into this pivot high, right? So if we look at resistance, see this high from April 14th, it was 31,045, let's call it. Well, we pierced it here. And then just a couple days ago, we closed right there after piercing. And then look at the selling taking place. So what this is telling me is that Bitcoin is having a very hard time breaking out. And the concerning factor here is that this was and maybe is still bullish consolidation on the chart. But the problem is it should be at a point of breaking out, and it's not. And that makes me concerned that you look at the downside level of support, which is 29,900, 850, and we might be headed back down there. Now, if we break that and we have a daily close below that, so basically this line right here, that basically creates a failed bull flag. Failed bull flags mean that you can potentially have a major move to the downside. So again, let me recap the analysis on the Bitcoin chart here. So number one, Bitcoin failing again to break out. And for those of you that know the methodology, the PPT methodology that I teach in the Winning Trader series, we know that this is a 2x time count. Time counts are very important in charting. So again, for it to fail and not break out on a 2x time count, that is significant. All right. So again, as it comes down here, can it hold this 29.8, 29.9 level? Does it close below? A close below potentially means very bearish price action on Bitcoin. If it can rally up here and close above 31,000 or 31,001 and change, whatever this high pivot is here, that again will be the precursor to staying above for a few days and maybe having a breakout. But right now, this price action is not good. And I want to say this. A lot of people, again, if you go on crypto Twitter, if you go anywhere, there is so much bullish sentiment out there on Bitcoin that you would honestly, if I just looked at crypto Twitter, I'd be like, oh man, the Bitcoin must be near the all-time highs. That's concerning. Another thing that's concerning to me is that if you look at the NASDAQ, all right, the NASDAQ has been going up nonstop for how long? I mean, look at this chart. And again, I have some other data on this, but nonetheless, we've been in an uptrend on this not only since October of 2022. But look at the recent price action, right? And again, to not see Bitcoin performing better in that environment is somewhat surprising and potentially a bearish signal. So again, just be aware. Now, I want to talk about altcoins. First of all, let's go to the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is a Bitcoin dominance chart. We can easily see it was a breakout, right? This is, by the way, this is what should happen with Bitcoin. All right, this is the sideways consolidation. It tested, well, almost tested, and then it broke out. So that's the perfect scenario for Bitcoin, right? To repeat this chart on the Bitcoin dominant. Basically, and remember, charts replay out over and over again. You'll find this same consolidation on 1,000 other charts out there. And again, the probabilities favor a breakout. If it doesn't break out, that's where you get a failed move. And failed moves in technical analysis result in major moves in the opposite direction. So the reason why I'm bringing up that 29,800, 29,900 level is because if we fail, if the bullish pattern fails here, you should expect a move to at minimum 25,000, maybe as low as 22 to 20,000 on Bitcoin, probably within a month or two. So that's, again, for those of you that are watching, like if someone told me they were long Bitcoin right now, I would say, okay, that's okay, as long as you understand where to exit that. Now, when we go to the Bitcoin dominance chart, this pattern is a little bit negative in the short term. Now, remember, I'm talking very short term. Bitcoin dominance longer term has broken out of the bigger pattern. So again, Bitcoin dominance to me is heading much, much higher. All right. Ben Cowan and I have agreed on this. We've done our show, The No Shill Zone, which is Monday mornings at 11. But basically, you're headed here to approximately this 59, 60% level, right? There's a big level here as well. So this is where Bitcoin dominance eventually will head. And you guys know I'm a long-term bull on Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin longer term. I'm just a very short-term trader.
China's retaliatory actions have increased the risk for American multinational corporations. Beijing is determined to convey the message that countries aligning with the U.S. in the trade war will face severe consequences. Moreover, the United States also confronts the potential for broader economic upheaval if China responds by cutting off exports of critical technologies and materials that it controls, thereby resisting the process of decoupling. Now, let's hear Gareth elaborate on the specific impact this would have on Tesla stocks.
We have to understand what is going on. Tesla's deliveries, and this may shock some of you guys. Tesla deliveries were over 50% of those deliveries went to China. I repeat, over 50%, that's over 5 out of every 10 vehicles went to China. Now, what's the issue here? And this is the risk that, in my opinion, a lot of these analysts, like Dan Ives, great analyst, but they're not quantifying the risks here. All right. So let's go back to China real quick. China, over the last couple days, they said they are going to curb the export of rare earth metals that go into semiconductors. This is a response to the U.S. saying we're not going to ship a bunch of AI semiconductors to China. In addition, China now has just come out and says that the U.S. is making Taiwan a powder keg because of essentially military equipment sales to Taiwan. Basically, what I'm saying here, guys, is there's a tit for tat going on, that there is a risk of it exploding into something bigger, a bigger trade war. Well, there's an issue for Tesla here. Tesla, again, sells more than half of their cars to China. If that explodes, if the U.S.-China relationship totally explodes, let's say China invades Taiwan, Tesla's price could drop by over 50%. Now, that might only be a 5% chance of happening, but that's not being reflected in the risk of owning Tesla. Like when you hear analysts talk, you are not hearing like, oh my goodness, what if this long shot happens? The other thing to understand, and this is something that I guarantee you have not heard from any other analyst, is that if the U.S. government recognizes, and I'm surprised this hasn't happened yet, that basically China controls, essentially, if China banned the sale of Tesla vehicles in their country, Tesla's stock would fall by 50+% in theory, right? If 50% of their sales or over 50% are going to China, you would have to assume that their price would fall if that happened, if they got banned from selling there. Think about this. Elon Musk, he's worth $216 billion. If Tesla fell by 50%, Elon Musk, I think, would lose about 30% of his net worth. Elon Musk owns Twitter. What is the power that the Chinese government potentially has on it from a U.S. security, national security risk for or over Elon Musk's head, controlling that much potentially of Elon Musk's net worth? Think about that, guys. You're talking about like $50 billion plus of Elon Musk's fortune is now resting in the hands of China sales of EV vehicles. And again, he also controls one of the biggest platforms for getting information out to the public, to the US, to the world. So think about that. Again, just throwing out information. I just put the facts in front of you, and you guys take it and make what you will of it. That's all I want to do here. Make you think outside of the box so that you can be aware. And again, maybe it never comes to fruition. Maybe maybe China and the US make up. Maybe we become best buddies again. But as an investor, you have to make decisions based on all factors, not just hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams are great, but when it comes to investing, that can make you lose.
China's export control measures on chip-making materials are just the beginning, with more sanction measures and tools at their disposal, according to China Daily. Former Vice Commerce Minister Zhang Guo stated in an interview reported by Reuters that China's export control of these materials was a well-thought-out and forceful move. If restrictions on China's high-technology sector continue, countermeasures are expected to escalate. China has also imposed export restrictions on two minerals critical to semiconductor production, missile systems, and solar cells, as a show of force ahead of economic talks with the United States. This move aims to assert China's position in setting trade rules for technological dominance. Companies relying on these minerals for their operations are now seeking alternative supply sources, fearing further restrictions may follow, including on rare earth minerals. The sudden announcement of export controls, set to take effect on August 1st, has intensified trade tensions between China and the United States. Global supply chains could face significant disruptions as a result. The Chinese Commerce Ministry justified these measures on grounds of national security, in response to Washington's efforts to hinder China's technological progress. The impact of these developments on trade and the potential for further escalation in the trade war remains a subject of discussion. For more daily dose crypto news, check out these two awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.